And we are back with another episode of Bad Corner Advice. We're going to be breaking down and previewing UFC 303 today, which is it really UFC 303? Like, this is for me a ship of Theseus type situation where if you take away all its parts, is it still the original thing? Like, is this still UFC 303? I mean, the main card was supposed to be Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. We could have had a Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor fight tomorrow. Like, we could have had so much like hype this whole week. The promotions would have been out of this world. Like, oh man, what could have been? But like I said, is it really UFC 303? Should we rename it? Are we even like, is it UFC 303 beta? Like, what are we doing? And you also take out the Jamal Hill fight. It was Jamal Hill and Roundtree, and then it was Hill and Olberg, and then now it's just Anthony Smith and Roman Dolidze. So completely different fights there. And then, like I said earlier, you take out McGregor. Well, McGregor pulled out, so you don't have McGregor Chandler anymore, but you replace it with Alex Periera versus Jiri, which is going to be a really good fight. I mean, the co-main and the main event are going to be great because those are fan favorites, and it's going to suck either way who loses, but very excited about the main and the co-main event. I'm also excited about Ian Gary and Michael Venom Page. I am a little surprised that MVP is the underdog here. Sorry, I'm reaching down to get my papers, but MVP is the underdog. He is at plus 130. Ian is minus 155. And I get it. He is newer to the UFC. He just beat Kevin Holland by decision at UFC 299. Ian Gary is a very, very technically sound fighter. And like, the thing that I love about this fight is like, they're both trolls. Like, they're both trolls, but they both back up their trolling. Like, this man, Michael Venom Page, ended Cyborg Santos's career, almost killed him, as like throwing a Pokeball at him, and like, it's just insane. So he's obviously dangerous, ended his career, and he is so unorthodox and fights so insane and in such a style that like nobody has, that I'm not sure that how technically sound Ian Gary is will be able to beat that. I'm kind of leaning, I really don't know, but I'm kind of I've changed my mind like 3 times, but I'm kind of leaning toward MVP by decision. That is at plus 275. Holland kind of exposed how not great, I almost said bad, how not great MVP is on the ground. Obviously, Ian Gary is very good on the ground, so if he wants to win, he needs to take MVP down. MVP needs to keep the fight up, and he needs to not go down because he's a great striker. And like I said, I think I am gonna take this one to a decision, but I'm gonna take MVP, and that is plus 275. This next fight, I mean, does anybody even really want to hear me talk about this? I hate to be ugly, but like, Mayra Bueno Silva and Macy Chiasson, I really like, I'll talk about it and I'll give you my pick, but like, I just don't care, to be honest. Like, I think that this fight's gonna be boring. The last fight that I saw with Mayra Bueno Silva, I fell asleep during it, and it was a very frustrating fight to watch, and again, extremely boring. It was against Raquel Pennington. She lost. They're pretty even, with Bueno Silva being at minus 112, Macy minus 108. I kind of feel like Macy's the lock here. They're both really good grapplers, but Macy is the significantly better striker. So again, like MVP, if she can keep the fight on her feet, she is gonna wear Bueno Silva down and win that fight. I think I'm gonna go with Macy on the money line because I don't know enough about either of those two fighters to make like a prop bet on it. Now let's go to Anthony Smith and Roman Dolidze, which I mentioned earlier is the replacement for Hill, Roundtree / Olberg. I'm not a huge fan of either of these two fighters, but I do think, I think that Anthony Smith looked washed up until his last fight. And even then it wasn't like, he didn't look amazing. And Roman Dolidze, like, he just doesn't do it for me. But I think I'm going to go with the salty vet here. And I know they're the same age, but Anthony Smith has a lot more experience under his belt than Dolidze does. So like I said, I think I'm going to go salty vet. He is the underdog at plus 124, but go with Anthony Smith plus 124 on the money line. I am not prop betting that one either. Now, those are the two that, like I said, I only care really about 3 of these fights. I don't really care for those 2 fights. So that's all you're going to get from me for Chasson and Bueno Silva and Dolidze versus Smith. Now the coming event, which I am very, very excited for, Ortega versus Lopez, and I've been very curious to see who was next for Ortega after he beat Yair Rodriguez recently, which was, I think, Ortega in his prime. Like, he looked great against Yair, a really good rematch because he lost against him the last time he faced him. Ortega's the underdog at plus 120, Lopez the favorite at minus 142, but these are both some fan favorites. Like, everybody loves Diego Lopez. Brian Ortega's awesome as well, so it's going to be one of those situations where you hate to see either of these two lose, but this is just going to be a fun fight. Like, I am very much looking forward to this one, and I just already know it's going to be great. They're both great grapplers. Ortega is elite on the ground though, and he has 8 finishes by submission, and he only has 3 losses, and those 3 losses are to Yair Rodriguez, who he just beat in the rematch, Max Holloway, who is a current BMF title holder, and former champ Alexander Volkanovski. So they're not bad losses. I think, again, that he looked really, really good against Rodriguez the last time he faced him. Like, this was like prime Ortega. Now, Lopez is definitely in the running to be a top contender in the featherweight division. He is a great and really fun fighter to watch as well. And the man can throw a punch. Like, he is a great striker, but Ortega has a granite chin. He is tough. He's been technically knocked out, and there was a stoppage versus Holloway. Like, it was a TKO versus Rodriguez, and then stoppage versus Holloway, and then he lost by decision to Volkanovski. So granite chin. I mean, this is just going to be a great fight, and I just don't know. The fact that it's 3 rounds might favor Lopez in this if it goes to a decision, but I don't know. I kind of want to take Ortega on the money line because I really could not tell you how it's going to finish. Like, I don't know if it's going to be by decision. I don't know if it's going to be a knockout from Lopez. I don't know if Ortega's going to sub Lopez. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I'm going to take Ortega on the money line though. Now, Periera versus Jiri. Is there really a lot to say about this fight? I mean, come on. Poatan is Poatan. They call him Stone Hands for a reason. That left hook is something serious. And look, I know that they both just fought at UFC 300. Jiri arguably had like the more that his fight definitely took a lot more energy out of him than Alex Periera versus Jamal Hill did. We all know how that ended, and I think Alex might be a little more ready than Jiri might be, and again, this is another one where they're both fan favorites, and you hate to see either of these two guys lose. Periera won their last meeting, and they both won at 300 as well. Jiri's defensive leg kicks is probably his biggest weakness, whereas Periera uses leg kicks as a weapon. So that might be something to look out for, but also, I mean, come on. Like I said, is there really much to say about this fight? Periera by knockout over Jiri. I feel like that's a lock. I feel like it's a lock. But again, this is Bad Corner Advice. So, take it with a grain of salt. I have been on a heater, and I have been doing really, really well with my bets. And it's actually been some pretty good corner advice. But Oh, I forgot to mention, so here in Baton Rouge, they have, well, in Louisiana, they have something called Titan Combat Championship, which is like amateur MMA. And we had a couple of them in studio yesterday, and they're going to be fighting at the Texas Club. If you live in Baton Rouge and you're watching this, they're going to be fighting, and I'm going to try to get a couple of them on Bad Corner Advice so we can talk about it. It was Colton Crochet and Jordan Mays. Colton Crochet actually was a walk-on at LSU, but I think he only played like a season or something. I think that's what he said. So they are going to be fighting at the Texas Club tomorrow, Saturday. And I haven't been to one of these yet, but I know a couple people that have, and they're very, very fun. I know the Texas, like, look, I know the Texas Club. I've been to the Texas Club. The Texas Club is a lot of fun. So I've just never been there for not a concert. But I mean, if you're in Baton Rouge and you have nothing to do tomorrow, go check out Titan Combat Championship. These guys are working to make their way. So go support. This is a great promotion, Titan Combat. They've been doing stuff all over the state of Louisiana. So go check them out if you are in Baton Rouge, if you have nothing to do on Saturday and you want something to do to kill time during the prelims and early prelims, go check out Titan Combat Championship at the Texas Club this Saturday. You can get your tickets at thetexasclub.com. But yes, we were talking about how I have this called Bad Corner Advice, and they loved the name Bad Corner Advice, and I think that it spawned from whenever I said on Off the Bench, the show that I produce here on 104.5 ESPN, if you want to check it out. If you're listening from not Louisiana and you want to check it out, we do upload our shows on demand, and you can also check out our YouTube page. So we go live on YouTube every single day. I produce a show called Off the Bench with T-Bob Abear and Jacob Hester, both former LSU football players. And Jacob played in the NFL as well, and he's going to hate that I was calling him Jacob. Jake played in the NFL as well. But yeah, it's a great show. I was talking on that show before I even started this podcast. It was back when Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou were fighting, and I said that Ngannou was going to win that fight. I don't know why I said that. Well, to be fair, Anthony Joshua had looked kind of washed in his last couple fights, and he had me a little worried. I love Anthony Joshua. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I am a huge fan of Anthony Joshua. He has a YouTube channel where he uploads all his fights, win or lose, and I used to just sit there and binge watch his fights. Like, his fight against Klitschko is one of my most favorite fights ever. So I love Anthony Joshua. Keep that in mind. I thought that Francis Ngannou was going to win, and that was one of the nastiest knockouts that I've ever seen. And my program director, Matt Moscona, was listening, and whenever AJ knocked out Francis, he texted me and he was like, "AJ's washed, huh?" So then I was like, Matt, please. But that's kind of how I came up with Bad Corner Advice. I was like, oof, I'm giving these people some bad betting odds. There was another one too. What was it? I took Cheeto over Sugar Sean. But that's like just my love for Cheeto getting in the way. But yes, that's how Bad Corner Advice came to be. I don't know if anybody even cared, but that's how it came to be. And I don't know how because I was saying if you take Periera or not, whatever, it's Bad Corner Advice, it's fine. But I think that Periera's the lock by knockout. I am going to bet that. Let me see what the line is for that. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, and this guy's over here. All right. Look, when I say that I do not know, like, this Ian Gary MVP fight, I've changed my mind on it like 3 times. Joaquin, who edits my videos, my cousin, he's been on before too. He just texted me. He's like, I think MVP is too one-dimensional. Like, MVP beat up Holland and everyone glazes him. Like, yes, I agree. But I don't know. Like, I just don't know. Like, I agree that we're glazing him for beating Holland, but I really don't know. But I think I'm going to keep it at MVP by decision versus Ian Gary. But if you want to fade me, take Joaquin's picks. He is, and I think that Joaquin also thinks that Jiri's gonna win, and he edits this, so like if you want to like put like an editor's note on here somewhere, or like hop on, like just like give me a little video and hop on, that'd be fine. I'm fine with it. So
yeah, I feel like MVP is overrated. Honestly, he was like beating up Bellator cans, and then he comes to the UFC and gets to fight Kevin freaking Holland, which is like a free W because Kevin Holland sucks. Honestly, that just needs to be said. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna win. And also, I want Periera to win, but I just think that Jiri's gonna win for whatever reason. He was kind of piecing him up in their last fight a little bit. And that kind of might happen again.
yeah, I don't know. I'm going to take MVP still. Let me look at what the end of Bad Corner Advice is getting very, very ADD. So let me wrap this up with giving you the line for Alex Pereira by knockout. Oh, they're even, by the way. No, they're not. I lied. Jiri is plus 124. Alex is minus 148. Obviously, the favorite to win by knockout is plus 110. So I think I'm going to do that. So let's hope and let's pray that that's what happens. Oh, yes, that's the other thing that I was going to say, that Pereira's he's got the spirits on his side, apparently, according to Jiri. So he's got a shaman that helps him out. The shaman is the reason why he wins all the time. But hey, you got to do what you got. A shaman's not going to show up on a drug test. So if a shaman helps you win, by all means, do you. That's going to do it for today's episode of Bad Corner Advice. Like I said, it's getting very, very ADD. So we're going to wrap it up. Let me give you my picks one more time. I am taking MVP by decision at plus 275. Macy Chasson on the money line, and then Smith on the money line at plus 124. Chasson is at minus 108, by the way. And then I'm going to take Ortega at plus 120, and then Periera by KO at plus, I just said it and already forgot it. Periera by KO at plus 110. That is going to do it for today's Bad Corner Advice. We'll be back next week to break it all down right here.